All right, order in the court. Okay, so a couple good things. I talked to Bill Wazinski. I think I never get his name right. So, oops. The Palomar College TV people, I met with them on Tuesday. They are editing the political economy's structure, the lectures. So if you didn't get a chance to see them, my understanding is their goal was to try and get those finished being edited by this weekend. The thing that they did that's cool this time that wasn't done last time when they did the taping is they did ask for the PowerPoint slides for the various different speeches. So as a result, if it was a speech that had all these facts and figures last time, you just had the talking head and you couldn't see what they were pointing at. This time they're apparently editing it where the images are integrated along with the talks, which is like smart, okay? And so I'm very happy with that, and I hope that does go through. But they're finishing the editing of those, and my understanding is by early next week they'll have those available. So the links to those and the link to the Time Magazine article that I offered that you could do as an extra credit thing with the Civil War article, all of those I will send as links as soon as I get the links from Palomar College TV. And again, hopefully that will be, I'll receive the links on Monday so I can get them to you Monday or Tuesday, but it's whenever they finish, okay? At the very end of class, we're going to talk about the replacement for the third test and how that's going to be this online Blackboard thing, which is very Mickey Mouse. But just to advance the rate, it's going to be a small assignment. Because it's a smaller assignment, it is not going to be worth 15 points of your final grade. That's silly. So as a result, I'm going to redistribute the points where the small Mickey Mouse assignment is worth 5 points, and the other 10 points are going to be divided 5 points between the first and second exams. So that, because I mean that you all did good work on. The majority of you all did very well on those, so you should be rewarded for the good work, and so yay, and all that. And if not, I just mentioned extra credit home. So there it is. So that's that. Let us then move forward. And we were talking about, and I don't know why I'm looking down here because apparently I just opened up the 101 outline. I'm looking at the American Revolution, so that's not today. Anyway, we will talk about a little bit of conflict and warfare because we were talking about the Spanish-American War. So let's boogie on down with that. When we last left off, I think I was talking about the newspaper war and how it was that everybody was intrigued by this idea of what was going on in Cuba. And what's the only reason that we don't get involved with Cuba and this bloodbath in Cuba? Yeah?
Because Grover Cleveland.
Grover Cleveland, right? He heard nothing, okay? But by 1896, McKinley is president, right? And once McKinley becomes president, he's planning to be much more activist in terms of what he plans to do. And in fact, he's elected in November. By March, he's inaugurated. Remember, inaugurations in March and not in January, as we were familiar with today. And so with the inauguration, that it looks like things are going to go forward. Okay, everything looks good. Okay, so far so good. And then he, after his inauguration, things seem to have quieted down. And so because of that, since things seem to have been so quiet, it seems like, yeah, we're done, okay? It's not going to be a big deal. And we probably would have not gotten involved with Cuba, except two things. And this is my mnemonic. I tell you, sometimes I kind of think of little catchphrases to try and remember things. I like to say that the Spanish-American War was caused by a note and a boat. Okay, nice little rhyme scheme, very Dr. Seuss of me. Okay, and by the way, later on, in just a couple weeks, couple lectures, when we talk about World War I, it's a boat and a note. Okay, we reverse it. Okay, so there it is. So what is this note and a boat? What is the thing? First of all, do you all remember what you may have heard something about this WikiLeaks happening? What was the WikiLeaks thing that just occurred?
Classified documents.
Okay, classified documents were leaked onto the internet, including some diplomatic correspondence, right, which caused some embarrassment for the United States and all that. Because when diplomats write back to the United States, what kind of assessment do they give foreign leaders? They're very honest, right? Now, sometimes it's not a flattering picture, but they're trying to be as candid as possible about what it is. But of course, that's not the kind of thing that you say. Like if you're talking with your best friend, and your best friend says, well, what is your boss like? You probably are going to say all sorts of things about your boss, none of which you would probably want your boss to hear directly. right? Just like I'm sure when you all talk about your history teachers, you all say things I probably would be better off not knowing, okay? And so you talk about such things, all well and to the good. And then some of you posted one rate my professors. But nonetheless, there it is. Now, what happened was that the Spanish ambassador was a fellow by the name of the Dupuy de Lome, okay? And it sounds French, but it's Spanish. And the Dupuy de Lome had given an assessment of William McKinley, and he was sending it back to Spain, since this is the new president, and he's supposed to do this. And quite frankly, he was unimpressed with McKinley. He kind of felt that basically the Republicans had their hand so far up his ass, he was a sock puppet, okay? They were unimpressed with McKinley, and so he wrote a very unflattering set of descriptions of McKinley. Now, mind you, to be fair, even some Republicans had said kind of similar things about McKinley, so it was not as if that what he said was so awful that nobody had ever said it in America. But it's a lot like that, you know, I've heard people who say, you can't call my sister a bitch. Only I can, you know. The idea that, you know, them's fighting words unless I'm the one who's saying it, you know, or whatnot. And we were kind of that way. Well, again, this correspondence was in a diplomatic pouch. It was sealed. It was supposed to be private and going back to Spain. But it was intercepted by Cuban rebels. And so what do the rebels do with this nice document with Spain dissing, the Spanish ambassador dissing the president? What do they do with it?
They leak it.
They leak it. And who do they give it to?
The U.S.
Oh, better than the president. Think bigger exposure. The newspapers, absolutely, because there's nothing like a little bit of newspaper exposure. And of course, it's a newspaper war, so both newspapers have to put it on the front page and all this. And so it's a huge embarrassment to Spain. In fact, Dupuy de Lome gets fired as a result. He's recalled back to Spain as a result of the conflict. Yeah. Yeah, somewhere, I thought.
His name is there.
Is Dupuy de Lome on it? No.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay.
How do you spell that?
It's on the outline. That's my cop-out. I don't remember it. I don't have the...
D-U-P-U-Y.
D-U-P-U-Y. Delome. D-L-O-M-E. L-O-M-E. Anyway, so, Delome on the range. All right, anyway, that was lame even for me. Sorry. That was bad. That's okay. There's going to be a series of, like the Suck 6, I think I have Suck 6 jokes for this class, so I warn you. Not a lot of funny today that's really funny, just a lot of lame that tries to be funny. So, Danger Will Robinson. Okay, anyway, and that was one of them apparently. Okay. Moving on. Crap. Totally lost my place.
Leaked by Cuban rebels.
Oh yeah, so that was number one. That alone wasn't enough to obviously cause war, but we were pissy about it. Okay, it just primed us. But we had decided to kind of be pissy to Spain as well, because we're saying that Cuba sucked, you know, the situation in Cuba sucked so bad. So you all remember in Top Gun what Tom Cruise did when he didn't like the people in the tower? Yeah, he buzzed the tower like in order to make them spill their coffee and say, "Hey, we're here," you know, and all that. Well, did the same thing. We decided to park our ships outside of Cuba, at least the Pacific Fleet. Remember, because of Alfred Thayer Mann, what do we have? Not just one fleet, but two fleets. And I'm sorry, I said Pacific Fleet, it's Atlantic Fleet. I hope I get my coast right, sorry. Last three classes I picked up saying, Pacific Fleet in Cuba! And I'm like, what? You know? Just to clarify, to make sure that you're right, if you keep on walking west, and you walk west of Oceanside, the moist part over there is the Pacific, okay? Just in case you're geography impaired. So anyway, here it is that we sent part of the Atlantic Fleet. We're kind of buzzing Cuba, giving them the hairy eyeball, saying, "Don't you dare!" You know, not that we're going to show you supposedly, but we could bomb you. Ha! You know, that sort of thing. So there that was. Well, one morning, a ship named the USS Maine does something that's not part of its morning routine. And by not part of its morning routine, I mean explode, okay? Which is rude. Indeed, it destroys the ship and it kills the sailors on board, which we are not happy with. And in general, because we do not say that spontaneous combustion is one of the buttons you can press on the front of a ship, we suspect outside interference causing the explosion. And of course, who